Hello and welcome to another Overlord lore video, and today we are going to take a closer look at the end of Phillip, the most brilliant man of the kingdom, at least in his very own house. But before we're going to take a closer look at him, let's take a closer look at my Patreons and thank them for supporting this channel. Furthermore, I say thanks to all users of the YouTube thanks function for making one-time donations. Also please check out my fantasy lore channel, it's linked down in the description. And with all of that said, let's dive into the beginning of the end, because Phillip had been made into a pawn of Hilmar Cyganeus, who in turn answered directly to Albedo. But Phillip was, let's just say, a bit overqualified for his job, as an unassuming and stupid fool, while his non-existent intelligence was well and truly on sub-brick levels. Phillip sadly had some ideas of grandeur that blossomed inside his otherwise empty head. Phillip believed himself to be blessed by faith and fortune. He believed that destiny had killed off his two brothers and made him the sole heir to the Montserrat name and the small estate of his father, simply because he deserved it for existing. Phillip believed that he would further advance and marry Albedo, and maybe even dispose of the Sorcerer King somehow, in order to then reign the most powerful nation in the New World. But he also needed some small victories right now, hence why he attacked the grain transport of the Sorcerer Kingdom. Now, in spite of directly acting against the interest of the Sorcerer Kingdom, he still believed that Albedo, the Prime Minister of the Sorcerer Kingdom, would forgive him, and that he would theoretically still be beloved by Albedo. And that's when Albedo's ideas of wrath and vengeance comes into play, because not only did this pawn touch Albedo, but Phillip also tarnished the reputation of Albedo because the failure of Hilmar indirectly also reflected bad on Albedo. The entire change of the plan, the entire war on the Kingdom of Riestais was all Phillip's fault. And wanting to boink Albedo after embarrassing her in front of Einsulgon is something that angered her beyond anything. And therefore Albedo had taken excessive revenge, not only on Phillip's father, but on his entire estate and everyone living on it. Albedo personally dealt with every single citizen of the Kingdom of Riestais that dared to attacking the grain transport. But despite all of the torture, all of the death and misery that Albedo inflicted in her anger, and in her thirst for revenge, the father of Phillip had something to say to the Floor Guardian. Please make my son suffer every single quantum of pain that myself and my villagers had to endure because of him. But Phillip was entirely unaware of what was going on because he was drunk. He noticed that all the servants had disappeared and that all of the other noise he would normally hear has gone quiet, but he was never the brightest, so he didn't think much about it, except at him yelling at non-existent personnel while being heavily drunk. Phillip really was classy to the very end. And yes, before you start asking, he basically slept and drank himself through the zombie apocalypse without noticing much. And while all of this was bad enough, things went considerably worse, because not only had Albedo returned from her service, but she also had brought a gift to Phillip, the severed head of his very own father. And only then, during this brief moment of acute awareness, was Phillip able to understand the gravity of the situation. He was an arrogant fool, and would now feel the wrath of Albedo. Now, we don't know what kind of pain Albedo inflicted, aside from it being a lot, but considering that Demiurge and Albedo did once talk about torture, I would suggest that Phillip would be hit where it hurt the most. And with all of that said, I should perhaps also answer the question whether or not there was any hope for a happy end for Phillip. Not with Albedo, that is, but in his position as a tool for the Sorcerer King and the Sorcerer Kingdom. And I would say no, simply because he was specifically casted for the role of an inept, incompetent leader that would easily rally the population behind another, that would be easy to manipulate, so that anyone ever so slightly more competent, like a golden princess for example, that is already beloved by the common folk and many of the nobility, would have an easy time at replacing him. So no matter what would happen, Phillip was always intended to die, though he still managed to quite literally choose the worst possible death for him, simply by sufficiently aggravating Albedo. And while we don't know whether or not he has died yet, eventually he will. And this concludes the fate of a man that started to think that fate was on his side after celebrating the death of his family members and after entering a pact with a major criminal syndicate. And with all of that said, thank you very much for watching, and special thanks to Arda Daddy Arda, Bad Guy Yee, Bad Burrito 316, Be There, Ben C, Brandon D, Chrissy, Crowley 0221, Sia, Crystal Prime, Dead Slime, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Demon Xenomorph 1987, Devin Downen, Ding Dong, Duckwagon, Dystopia, Dystopia II, Enigmatic Unicorn, Phil Walshivan, Guy with That Head, Hector Marino, Hoss, Huster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, J. Morris, Chromius, Kyle R, Legendarius, Lelouch Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishikian Rai, Lord Touch Me, Mervek, Mr. Shoes, Mr. Tweaker, Michael R, Michael Y, Nope, Oh Hell No, Normal Toad, O-Kill, Overlord General Gasper, Paddy Pantum, Personage, Primus 11, Cune Caracos P, Shergox's Daddy, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrine Keeper, Super Tier Magic Batista Bomb, Supreme Cheese, Staris, Ted, Texas Deer, The Orc Warboss, Rak Ed Smasher, T.E. Wang, Vash Hawkeye, Vegito 27, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm, Xenokai, and Zonagon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon on my next video.